This is Your Money, Your Wealth.
Welcome to another episode of Your Money, Your Wealth. Joe Anderson here, certified financial planner, alongside, of course, the big man right over there, Big Al Clopine. Thanks for tuning in. Got a great show lined up. It's a little challenging in today's environment, especially when you are retired. A lot of crazy things going on in the world. Stock market is volatile. Things are going on that is unimaginable. Ebola. Where did they come up with these names? I have no idea. But it's scary stuff. People are freaking out. The markets are freaking out. And so here's what we want to get into today is looking at if you're retired and if you're creating retirement income from your overall portfolio. And when markets get volatile, that's difficult enough. But where are you going to pull the money from? What accounts do you pull the money from? How is it going to be taxed to you? That's what's on my mind today. Couple of things. Let's look at the math of the market when you're looking at taking retirement income. Let's say I have $100,000 saved. The market drops 30%. The next year, the market's up 30%. Do I have my $100,000 back? The answer is not even close. Here's the deal. $100,000 saved, the market drops 30%. I have now $70,000. The market's back up 30%, but 30% on 70 grand is only 21,000. So I still don't have my capital back. Now, if I'm pulling money from the portfolio in down markets, you can see how fast that your capital can deplete. Let's bring in Big Al and talk about what you should be doing when it comes to your retirement income. My friend, crazy times out there, man.
It's yet another Saturday, and boy, this is such an important topic, Joe. I mean, really, when you think about it, you got your assets, you've been saving, and it's a different time than it used to be. Think about a generation ago. So a generation ago, our parents had more pension plans. They had Social Security. We still have Social Security. Some of us still have pension plans, but many don't. Now we have things like 401ks and 403bs and IRAs, and we got to figure out how to do an income distribution plan so that we're not going to run out of money. And that's what we want to talk about today is the key considerations. Number one has got to be how much can you withdraw from your accounts and to make sure that you're not going to run out of money over your lifetime. Second thing we want to talk about is where do you get the funds from? Which investments? Do you take them from your cash account or your bonds, your safe investments, maybe your stocks, or maybe a combination? We want to get into that. And then finally, now because a lot of people have retirement accounts, some people have Roth IRAs, some people have money outside of retirement, we'll talk about which accounts do you pull from. And I'll give you a key here, which is it depends upon taxation. So we'll be getting into that a bit. But Joe, this is such an important thing, which is the fact that people now have to create their own retirement plan. What, are you messing with your ear?
Yeah.
Trying to talk to you.
I'm just totally ignoring you. It's all right, go ahead.
Anyway, but this is an important topic. Because, yeah, he didn't want to listen to me, that's what Ty said. But at any rate, because now what? We got IRAs, we got 401ks, maybe we inherited some money, maybe we saved some money outside of retirement. Now what? How do we create an income stream out of that?
Right, and here's the problem with things is that what the advice that a lot of people are getting, if you look at old school financial planning, is that, all right, well, here, I'm retiring, how do I get income? Well, if you go back in the 80s, you could buy a CD and you would get 15% interest. Today, you're lucky on that, let's say I have $100,000. I could get 15 grand of interest on a $100,000 investment. Today, you'd be lucky if you got $260 a year. So when you look at how do you create the retirement income, it's not searching for what is the best yield or what is the best rate of return, because then you'll be taking on too much risk. Secondly, is like, where are you going to be pulling the money from? A lot of times you will deplete the cash or assets that are sitting outside of your retirement first, and then you'll hit your retirement accounts. I think that advice is flawed, just given where tax rates are right now and where we believe tax rates are going to go in the future. If you do this right, you can have a lot more income. The income is going to be with you that much longer, and then potentially you can pass that much more to the next generation. That's what I really want to get into today, is just dispel some of the myths of old school planning and really help people understand how do you create the retirement income? How do you tap the income from your retirement accounts?
Yeah, I think, as we said, it's such an important topic because a lot of us have accounts and a lot of us are trying to create retirement accounts tax efficiently. So I think probably the first topic is how much? How much can you withdraw from your accounts? And there's a rule of thumb. It's called the 4% rule. It's been around for a few decades, which basically means you can withdraw 4% of your portfolio assets. If you have $100,000, 4% is only $4,000. That's the amount. If you have $1 million, 4% is $40,000. So what's a portfolio asset? Well, these are assets that are either in the stock market or cash or bonds. They might be in 401ks, they might be in 403bs, they might be in 457 plans, they might be cash accounts, they might be accounts that you have outside of retirement, they might be SEP IRAs, they might be inherited accounts.
That's a lot of accounts.
It is. So I'm hoping everyone has all those
I think
accounts.
you hit every single account. You want to say
and also
KEO,
a defined benefit plan, and KEO, and simple IRA,
Sure.
and sell a 401k.
Yeah, wow.
But the point is the 4% rule gives you a starting point, right, as to how much that you should be able to withdraw from your money.
Yeah, just taking a look at, all right, well, you don't want to pull out any more than 4%, and that's a general rule of thumb. And if you think of it, if I have $1 million, okay, and if I want to pull 4%, that's $40,000 a year. If I have $100,000 saved, I don't want to pull more than $4,000. It's pretty simple math. And so here's the first step that you have to figure out is to say, hey, all right, well, where's my income going to come from? And Al just, I think, laid out every possible scenario for you. But that's your liquid assets. You don't want to pull out any more than 4% out of your liquid assets. But it depends, right, Al? It depends on how old you are. That's kind of a general rule of thumb. But if I'm in my 70s, if I have shorter life expectancy, if I'm in my 50s, that rule of thumb is out the window.
Well, that's exactly right, because that really is just a starting point. So if you think about it, I mean, for some of you, probably 3% is the amount, and others of you, it might be 4 or 5%. And you're right, Joe, it depends upon several factors, like your age at retirement. If you retire at 70 or 75, you can probably take more from your portfolio. Why? Because you probably won't live as long as someone that retires at age 50. Longevity is a factor. How long have your parents lived, brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles? How you have your money invested, this is key. If you're all in CDs earning 1%, you won't be able to pull as much out. And then certainly your goals in terms of what do you want to do with this money? Is it simply for you and your retirement? Or do you want to save some for the kids? And if so, then you don't want to spend as much.
Right. I mean, it's a general rule, but I think here's the problem is that most people really don't understand how much money that they need or how much that they can pull from the overall account. I've been doing this close to 20 years, is that most retirees now have more anxiety in their retirement than they when they were working. Because it's like, well, how much can I spend? Can I spoil the grandkids? Can I buy the RV? Can I go on vacation? Can I paint the house? I mean, people really don't have a clue on how much money that they can take out of their overall accounts to make sure that it's still going to be there over the next 10, 20, or 30 years. And of course, it depends on how you're investing this. In today's crazy markets, right, if your account balance is down now 9, 10, 15%, depending on what you're invested in, now, are you still taking the same amount of money out? Where are you pulling those dollars from? Are you selling stocks when they're down? A lot of things to consider. Now, the markets were rosy for the past 4 or 5 years. Now we're back to volatile markets. Now it's time to get to work to figure out exactly what you need to do. Here's what we'll give you today, is that we'll give you a full free financial analysis. Right? You want to come into the office, we'll give you an assessment of everything that you need to do given today's times, given what your goals are, how much money that you should be pulling out. We'll talk about Social Security strategies, your pension strategies. How do you create the income that you need, save a lot of money in tax, take a lot less risk than you're currently doing, and guess what? Enjoy your retirement. That's what it's all about. 888-994-6257. Call that number right now. It's absolutely free for everyone that calls within the next half an hour. 888-994-6257. When we get back, we're going to talk a little bit about Social Security strategies. I'm going to go to the whiteboard and talk about if you're taking money from a down market, what that can do to your portfolio. Don't go anywhere. Show's called Your Money, and it's Your Wealth.
This week's question is, when should I take Social Security? Now that's a question that I can't cover completely in a couple minutes, but I at least want to go over the basics. All right, so there's really 3 alternatives when it comes to taking Social Security. I can either take it early, I can wait until my normal retirement age, or I can wait until age 70. Right, so when it comes to the normal retirement age, it's different for everyone. Now, it used to be age 65 for everyone, but now depending on the year that you were born, that's what determines your normal retirement age, and that's really where all the benefits start or what they're based on. So if I was born 1943 to 1954 as an example, my full retirement age or normal retirement age is age 66. Now, if I was born after 1960, then my normal retirement age is 67, and there's a lot of different, options in between. Now, regardless of what my normal retirement age is, though, the earliest I can take Social Security is age 62. Now, there's a downfall in taking it at age 62. There is a penalty. So if I take it at age 62, it's a 25% penalty or a 25% reduction from my normal retirement age benefit. Now, that's permanent for the life of me taking Social Security. Or if I push it out all the way until age 70, my benefit potentially could grow 8% per year, which is also permanent for the life of me taking Social Security. So that difference can be substantial.
About time you met my partner, my financial side.
All successful people and companies have a financial side.
Let's go, partner.
But to really be a winning team, you might need some help.
We need some help.
You need Payne Weber behind you for financial expertise, sound advice. We believe the quality of life just might depend on the quality of your financial services.
Thank you, Payne Weber. You're awfully stiff. You've got to loosen up a little bit.
And then you wonder why Payne Weber is no longer a brokerage firm.
You do wonder that. And because they hired Jimmy Connors to be their lead advisor. Huh?
Well, Jimmy, I love Jimmy Connors.
I do too.
But the commercial, right? All of a sudden he's playing tennis, and then it's a carpet. The commercials that they had back in the 80s when it was coming into the financial services is something else.
True.
Do not get your. I mean, does that encourage you to invest with Payne Weber? I don't know. I hope not. Let's go to the true/false question.
When creating a retirement income stream, I should always liquidate my safe assets first and my more aggressive assets second.
So this is a really good question because it could be true or false. It really depends, right? So here's the problem is that most people say, all right, well, here, just deplete the cash and then the bonds first and then go after the stocks. But if stocks are on a nice tear out, well, then you still have to rebalance the portfolio. So now it's going to be a little bit more challenging of, all right, you have to look at the portfolio itself to determine what asset class that you want to sell to create that income. Because if I keep my stocks growing, then I'm going to take on more risk than the overall portfolio probably needs to be. And so you might want to sell stocks in some instances to create that income. In times where the markets are volatile, then of course you want to grab your safer investments and not sell stocks when they're down.
Yeah, I think that's well said. And I think really when you think about it, probably more often than not, you will pull from your safe assets because they're not so volatile. You don't necessarily want to be selling stocks when they're shooting up or shooting down. But you do need to look at your portfolio, and there are times when stocks go up and you need to rebalance, or there's times when stocks go down, you need to rebalance. And so that should affect where you're pulling your assets from. So the answer is in this case false, because you don't always pull from your safe assets, although that's common.
Always. So that was kind of one of those.
That was the trick. You remember the SAT test? When it's always, it's false.
Always. There you go, always. So just remember that.
Right.
You know, and here's the problem. When you look at, we're talking about a retirement income strategy and how to create the retirement income that you need, but here's the real true problem when it comes to retirement is that a lot of people are not necessarily prepared. It's not only here in San Diego, Minneapolis, Philadelphia, it's across the United States that there's a real epidemic when it comes to people's, are they truly prepared for retirement? We got a clip here that I want you to take a look at.
They've worked hard all of their lives. Now Linda and Bob look forward to retiring. But like many baby boomers, they have real concerns.
Having enough money for retirement to live in the lifestyle that we would like to live.
Linda and Bob's concerns are real. Seniors in almost every state in the country don't have the income to retire comfortably.
I have a pension with my job, so I'm really fortunate. And we have some investments.
According to the 2013 Census Bureau data, households 65 and older are living on just over $37,000 a year in 49 states. That's well short of the $45,000 per year that is recommended for retirees. Nevada and Washington, D.C. are the only districts where seniors have incomes above the $45,000 benchmark.
I don't have a definite number, I'm not sure.
Haven't got that far yet.
Linda and Bob are taking action while they still have some time, taking classes to learn about their options for retirement planning.
We could use some fine-tuning on our plan. We have a loose plan, but we need something more definite.
Analysts say retirement savings should allow a senior to live on 70% of the average income of working adults age 45 to 65.
We're right out of time. We won't be able to wait 20 years for it to recover.
If that doesn't tell you to get prepared, I don't know what does, Al.
Well, that's exactly right. And really, a lot of people have no idea what they should be saving and how to develop a cash flow plan. That's why we're talking about it today.
So here's another issue when it comes to retirement income planning is that depending on where the market's at. So when the markets are volatile, and if you're saving money into, let's say, your 401k plan, that actually helps you. Because when the markets are down and you're saving money, you're buying more shares of that particular stock or mutual fund. But now if you're pulling money out of the account in down markets, this is what can really blow up a retirement. Let me show you a quick example here. So let's look at this. We have $1 million, okay? So there's $1 million in this couple's portfolio, and they want to generate $50,000 a year from the portfolio, okay? And we're going to assume a 3% inflation rate throughout. Now, if I look here, we got one portfolio and another portfolio. So in the first year, the market's down 10% as they're pulling out the $50,000. The next year, it's down 5%, and then it has a 0% for year 3. And then year 4 through 27, it has a 7.5% rate of return, okay? There throughout. So that's portfolio A, let's call it. Now we have portfolio B, and we just reverse it. So the first couple of years in their overall retirement, as they're taking distributions, they have positive returns. 7.5 the first year, 7.5 the second year, and so on. And then in later years, that's where they have a negative impact. And these numbers don't, I mean, it's a negative 10%, negative 5%. It's not negative 30 or 40. But let's look at the impact here. This is a down market right away. So here's your money. You start at $1 million, and then it free falls, and you run out in about 20 years. You had $1 million. You're pulling $50,000 out per year with the 3% inflation hedge on there. But you had negative returns in the market when you first started pulling money out. You flip that over. You have positive returns. Look at this. You start with that $1 million, and it keeps growing. It doesn't, and then it tails off a little bit, and at the end, you still have close to $1 million left. This is the problem when it comes to retirement income planning. When you're saving for retirement, volatile markets help you. When you are taking money out, volatile markets will kill your retirement. You will run out of money unless you have a strategy to take out the money efficiently when it comes to what assets that you pull, and then more importantly, how much tax that you're taking on the distribution. I mean, Al, we see this quite a bit. We've been lucky for the last couple of years that we've had a really good market, but now volatile markets are back. And I mean, we're always going to see volatile markets.
Well, that is true. And so you bring up a really good point, which is when markets are volatile, as they are right now, so what do you do? And people get concerned and they sell out of the stock market, and then of course they never recover. But here's what happens to a lot of people is they have so much invested in the stock market goes down, they pull money out of the stock market because they need expenses to live off of, and then you get to a point where I still need money to live off of, but my account's down. You're going to never recover. So let's really, Joe, let's go to a more appropriate way to figure out the right distribution plan. And I think it's got to start with your goals and what your spending is, but you got to take a look at your income sources, and let's maybe go over an example of how to create an income distribution plan.
Yeah, right, because this gets a little bit more complex, and I want to run through this example fairly quickly. But here's the problem that we see is that most individuals really don't look at their tax return when they're taking distributions. But think of it this way. If you can save money in taxes while you're taking income from your overall portfolio, guess what? You're taking less money from the portfolio, hence your money's going to last that much longer. So we have a couple of case study here. This individual needs $130,000 a year of income from the overall portfolio. Now, a lot of times when people hit that retirement age, let's call it age 65, they'll take Social Security right away, and then they'll start drawing money from, let's say, non-retirement accounts, and then they'll let their retirements continue to defer, and then when they're non-qualified or their cash accounts or anything outside of the retirement accounts are depleted, then they go to the retirement accounts. What we see there is that their income tax spikes. So you want to level out your overall income burden throughout your retirement, and here's a quick example. So at age 65, let's just assume John and Sue, they want $130,000. We're going to tell them, you know what, don't take Social Security. Let that continue to grow till age 70 because you get an 8% increase each and every year. let's not pull any money from your retirement accounts. Let's continue to let those defer, but there's another strategy that I want to look at. Now, because they don't have any income from retirement accounts or Social Security, they have negative taxable income. So that would be line 43 on your tax return. Because of that, look at this line here. We can do a Roth IRA conversion. That's taking money from their retirement accounts, now putting it into a tax-free component. And we would do this over the next, let's say, 5 years until they turn age 70. Now, they will take all of their income over the next couple of years from their cash accounts, their non-qualified accounts. That's good if you only do other tax planning strategies. Okay, so we're doing Roth IRA conversions throughout that time period until they turn age 70. Now they turn 70, they have Social Security of $50,000. Now we'll take a little bit from their retirement accounts, okay? But now look at here. Now we can pull from different avenues, such as the Roth IRA, and then we'll take a little bit more from cash. So we can still get this $130,000 of income, but look at their taxable income. 60 grand, they're still in the 15% tax bracket. They're living in a 25% tax world, but only paying 15%. And if we look, we kept them in that 15% tax bracket starting at age 65 through age 70, and then from age 70 through life, they'll always be in this low tax bracket, spending $130,000 a year. That's true planning. If you want some help, call our number right now, 888-994-6257. We're giving away a retirement assessment. Let's take a look at how are you creating the retirement income that's going to last you the rest of your life. Got to take a break. Don't go anywhere. Show's called Your Money, and it's Your Wealth.
Hi, I'm Robert McCulloch, Certified Financial Planner with Peer Financial Advisors. Did you know that 36% of Americans think that they can retire by 65, but only about 11% really can?
Happy Saturday morning, watching Your Money, Your Wealth. Joe Anderson here, Certified Financial Planner, President of Peer Financial Advisors. Thanks for tuning in today. Hopefully you're getting some good information, good education on your Saturday morning. Hey, speaking of information and education, what I want to encourage you to do, go to yourmoneyyourwealth.com if you want to get some more information or education when it comes to your overall retirement. I teach a retirement planning course all over Southern California. If you're approaching retirement, in retirement, or just want to get some information on how do you take your Social Security, how do you create the retirement income that you need long term, what are the tax implications of your retirement income? Have you thought of a Roth IRA conversion? Maybe you have a Roth 401k, TSP, or 457 plan. It's combining everything that you probably heard and then now creating a cohesive strategy to make sure that you can do all the things that you want long term. Join me at several different community colleges along Southern California. Go to yourmoneyyourwealth.com. Let's go to the true-false question. Let's see if you got this right.
I should strongly consider Roth conversions if I'm retired, under 70 and a half, in a low tax bracket, and have enough non-retirement assets to create a cash flow for my expenses.
That is absolutely true.
The answer to that is yes, 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 yes. Do it. How about that? There's no downside,
that's
right?
a CPA getting excited for you, folks, right
about
there.
Roth conversions. Why? Because the Roth
special.
IRA is 100% tax-free. Once you get that money in, if you're in a low tax bracket, yes, you have to pay taxes on the conversion. But if you're in a low tax bracket, go ahead and do it because you'll be in a higher bracket later at 70 and a half when your required distributions kick in.
Yes, this planning is key. Al and I have been talking about this for many, many years of figuring out a way to get you the income that you need long-term with the least amount of tax possible. You know, I figured out a long time ago that when it comes to your overall retirement, success or failure is that you have to get your CPA involved. You have to get a tax professional involved. Because it's not necessarily, all right, well, here's the dollars and cents of your overall investments, because most of the dollars are now in your retirement accounts, and all of that is subject to ordinary income. So if you don't have a tax strategy or a CPA as good as Big Al Clopine, I think you're missing the boat. Hey, let's do this. Let's go to one quick email question, and we'll get the heck out of here.
Shouldn't I wait until 59 and a half to do my Roth conversions to avoid the 10% early withdrawal penalty?
Al, that's a great question because this is a lot of confusion. So when you do a Roth IRA conversion, it makes no difference how old you are. If I do a conversion, $20,000, let's say I'm 40 years old, I convert from my IRA to a Roth IRA, I'm under 59 and a half, there's no 10% penalty. The IRS classifies that as a rollover. The only way a 10% penalty would incur is this. If I did a $20,000 Roth IRA conversion, next year I do my taxes and I owe $5,000 additional taxes for doing the conversion. Then I pull those dollars out of my retirement account to pay the additional tax. That's when the 10% tax penalty would happen. It's not on the conversion. There is no 10% penalty. So anyone, anytime, any age that has a retirement account should at least consider a Roth conversion. Would you agree with that, big man?
I would agree with that. And really, when you think about it, in 2010, they took the income limitation away. So regardless of your income level, any age, working or not, you can convert any amount, your entire IRA or part of it. And this is something you should be considering right now, especially if you're in a low tax bracket.
Hey, we threw a lot of stuff at you. Here's what I want you to do. If you want to get more information, if you want to get educated, if you want to get a second opinion or just a full assessment of your situation, call this number right now. You can sit down with a fee-only financial advisors, a certified financial planner, or a CPA such as Big Al. 888-994-6257. I think the number is right underneath me. Call that number. All right, get into the office. It's a little scary out there. You want to make sure that you are confirmed on what you are currently doing. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. I certainly did. I had a great time. Enjoy your weekend. For Big Al Clopine, my name's Joe Anderson. You're watching Your Money, Your Wealth. Next week, we got a lot more to come to you, so we'll see you then.